Welcome to the European Circle Report. The Eurozone leaders have agreed on a second rescue package for debt-stricken Greece at their summit in Brussels on July 21st. The new aid package for Greece has the scope of another 109 billion euros of government money. The International Monetary Fund and the Permanent EU Rescue Funding Programme, EFSF, are going to provide a third of the total package. The contribution of private sector bondholders is estimated at 50 billion euros. The financial rescue for Greece is to prevent market instability from spreading through the Eurozone. After months of hesitation, Federal Chancellor Merkel has finally been able to demonstrate Germany's commitment to rescuing the common currency. Nevertheless, as one of the most credit-worthy European countries, Germany has to accept liability for debt-laden EU nations to keep the European Union from becoming nothing more than a transfer union. After last week's 8-hour emergency summit, Chancellor Merkel said,
Guten Abend und meine Damen und Herren, wir haben heute einen außerordentlichen
We have had an extraordinary council meeting in the Eurogroup today. This was a meeting at a difficult time, at a time when we are being challenged throughout Europe. I am satisfied with the outcome of this council, as the EU countries have now shown that we are up to the challenge. We are able to act with responsibility for Europe and for our common currency. We have shown and we have decided this with the second package for Greece and more.
Für unsere gemeinsame Währung. Und das haben wir dadurch gezeigt, dass wir ein zweites Paket für Griechenland beschlossen haben und manches darüber hinaus.
The new bailout for Greece's beleaguered state finances is a French-German effort. At a Franco-German meeting last week in Berlin, both sides had to make some concessions to achieve part of their aims. While Chancellor Merkel agreed to grant new loans to the distressed southern European country, French President Sarkozy complied with the commitment of the private bondholders. The market have responded very well to the compromise. The euro rose against the dollar immediately. Jean-Claude Trichet, the head of the European Central Bank, even announced that the regular EU crisis summit would be redundant. European Commission President José Manuel Barroso considered the emergency summit to have been a great success in the euro crisis.
First of all, I think it is for the first time since the beginning of this crisis that we can say the politics and the markets are coming together. Yesterday, I made a statement where I said we had 24 hours to respond to a very serious situation that puts at risk the financial stability in the Eurozone. And I said that the minimum we needed to do was provide clarity on 5 central issues. Not only this has been achieved, we have now a very credible package.
However, the real effect of the resolution in terms of stabilization and structuring the overall Eurozone is still very unclear. The conversion of the Greek debts, which is largely provided by German taxpayer money, makes the no bailout clause of the Maastricht Treaty invalid. The no bailout clause defines clearly that other EU members are not responsible for the welfare of individual members. At the beginning of last week, the EU Commissioner for Research, Innovation and Science, Máire Geoghegan-Quinn, announced a package of nearly 7 billion euros to kickstart innovation through research.
Today we are issuing the biggest ever invitation to researchers and innovators to compete for EU funding. The 7 billion euro we are investing will create an estimated 174,000 jobs in the short term and almost 450,000 jobs and nearly 80 billion euro in GDP growth over 15 years. Competition for this money will raise standards across the board and bring the best talent in Europe and beyond together to work on everything from curing cancer to electric cars.
The new funding package is a component of the current EU's 7th framework programme for research. With a budget of more than 53 billion euros for the period of 2007 to 2013, it is currently the biggest programme worldwide. In the context of the Europe 2020 strategy, the EU funding for research is at the top of the political agenda and has now been placed at the center of a coherent innovation strategy for sustained economic growth and employment. Goran Hadžić, former Croatian-Serb rebel leader, was recently arrested near the Serbian capital, Belgrade, after he had been on the run for 7 years. With that, the last alleged Serbian war criminal still at large was handed over to the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia in The Hague, Netherlands, only some weeks before Serbian General Ratko Mladic had been arrested. During the Croatian War of Independence, Hadžić was the president of the Serbian minority in Croatia. In this function, he controlled about 1/3 of Croatian state territory from 1992 to 1994. Hadžić has been charged with the murder of hundreds of Croatian civilians and the deportation of tens of thousands of Croats by Serbian troops during the war. The EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Lady Ashton, welcomed the arrest of the Croatian Serb with a statement.
I welcome today the arrest of Goran Hadžić. This is an important day for the government of Serbia and for the personal commitment of President Tadić, as Serbia moves forward to deal with the problems of the past and moves into the future, a future that I believe has a strong European perspective. My thoughts today are with the families and friends of those who were victims of terrible crimes in the past.
NATO has welcomed the arrest of the suspected Serbian war criminal as well. Current Secretary General of NATO, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, said in Brussels that after the handing over of Ratko Mladic to The Hague, this arrest could close the most painful chapter of recent European history. The apprehension of Hadžić was a precondition for Serbia to become an EU member nation. Belgrade is now hoping that the extradition of all criminals or war criminals who had been sought by the tribunal in The Hague is sufficient for Serbia to become an official EU candidate for accession. This was this week's report. See you next time. Goodbye.